In our world of silent glass and seamless connection, we glide through our digital lives with a whisper. Our fingers dance across smooth, unfeeling surfaces, our commands sent and received in an instant of pure, quiet data. It is an age of efficiency, of sleek design, and of profound silence. But there was a time, not so long ago, when technology wasn't just seen, it was heard. It announced its presence with a chorus of clicks, whirs, and clunks, a mechanical symphony that defined an era. This is the story of that forgotten soundtrack, the sound of technology when it had a voice. Before the cloud, before the terabyte, our creations were born from pressure and ink. Each letter was a declaration hammered onto the page with a satisfying thwack. The rhythmic clatter of a typewriter was the sound of progress. The percussive heartbeat of an office, a study, a newsroom. It was a deliberate, forceful act of communication, with each key strike leaving a permanent, tangible mark. The sharp ding at the end of a line wasn't just an alert. It was a small mechanical celebration, a signal to begin anew. This was the sound of ideas taking physical form, one character at a time. The machine was a partner in creation, its sounds woven into the very fabric of the words it produced. Our digital worlds were once physical objects stored on delicate, magnetic platters. The insertion of a 525-inch floppy disk was a careful ritual, a moment of anticipation. There was the distinct clunk of the drive latch closing, a sound that secured our precious data in place. Then came the mechanical whirring, a low, industrious hum as the drive's read head searched the spinning disk for information. It was the sound of a system waking up, of a machine thinking. Similarly, our music and programs lived on ribbons of magnetic tape. The high-pitched, frantic whir of a cassette rewinding was the sound of impatience, of wanting to get back to the best part of a song or the start of a game. It was a tangible measure of time, a sound that stretched and compressed our digital experiences. But perhaps no sound is more deeply etched into the memory of a generation than the digital handshake of the dial-up modem. It was the gateway to a new universe, the sound of the entire world coming online. The initial dial tone was followed by a chaotic and unpredictable symphony of static beeps and screeches. It was a raw, unfiltered conversation between two machines, a noisy alien dialect that promised connection. For several long, agonizing seconds, we would listen to this cacophony, holding our breath, hoping that the final, triumphant burst of static would settle into the silence of a successful link. This wasn't just noise, it was the sound of a door opening, a bridge being built across the vast expanse of the telephone network, connecting our humble desktops to a sprawling global web of information and community. These sounds were more than just the byproducts of function. They were an integral part of the experience. They were the clicks, whirs, and screeches that accompanied our work, our play, and our first forays into a connected world. They were the texture and character of our tools, the audible proof that something powerful was happening. We were not passive users tapping on silent screens. We were active participants, collaborators with machines that had their own distinct voices and personalities. It was a relationship built on a symphony of mechanical noises, a reminder of a time when we didn't just use technology, we experienced it. Do you remember the sound of progress? It wasn't the silent, seamless hum of today, but a symphony of clicks, whirs, and clunks. Before the age of touchscreens and cloud storage, our relationship with technology was a physical one, a conversation conducted not through glass but through gears and levers. We lived in a world where every action had an equal and opposite, and very audible reaction. It was a time when the machine had a voice, and we learned to listen to its every mechanical whisper and groan. This was the soundtrack of an era, a mechanical heartbeat that has long since faded into the digital ether. Let's journey back to that tactile world. Imagine the satisfying heavy clunk as a VHS tape is devoured by the VCR, the machine groaning to life as it spools the magnetic ribbon into place. Picture the delicate click-clack of a cassette deck's door, followed by the soft whir of the play button engaging the spools. The sound was a promise of the music or story to come, an overture to the experience. We can still feel the rhythmic, almost aggressive chatter of a 5.25-inch floppy disk drive, a sound of data being painstakingly written or retrieved, byte by precious byte. And then there was the keyboard, not a silent plane of glass, but a landscape of individual keys, each press rewarded with a deep, resonant clack that confirmed your every thought was being registered. Each sound was a confirmation, a tangible piece of the process. These weren't just noises. They were the notes in a forgotten composition, In the hum of the CRT monitor, the spin of the hard drive, and the clatter of the dot matrix printer, we found a rhythm. A sequence would begin, the sharp insertion of a disk, the whirring of the drive reading its contents, the rapid-fire typing of a command, and the final decisive press of the enter key. Our hands were conductors of this mechanical orchestra, turning dials to find a radio station, pressing chunky buttons that pushed back with gratifying resistance, and pulling levers that set entire mechanisms in motion. We were not passive users swiping left or right. We were active participants, our physical effort directly translating into digital action. This constant interaction forged a connection, an intimacy with the tools we used. The technology had a weight, a presence, a physical reality that demanded our attention and engagement. Now that vibrant symphony has fallen silent. Look closely at the dust motes dancing in the single beam of light that catches the corner of a long dormant monitor. They pirouette in the air, the only movement in a room where machines once buzzed with purpose. The VCR sits inert, its loading tray a silent mouth that no longer feeds. The cassette deck's buttons are still, their springs no longer tested. The keyboard, once a vessel for countless words and commands, is now a quiet relic. A ghost of potential haunts these plastic and metal shells. They are monuments to a different kind of interaction, a different kind of connection. In their silence, we are reminded of a fundamental truth about our past. We didn't just use technology, we experienced it.